The Realist Lounge,
hosted by Shannon Nicole with Unplugged, Mark the model. Yeah, we ready, let's go.
pull up a chair, it's time to make the people aware.
Bringing culture into context, truth, no nonsense.
The Realist Lounge.
What is going on, family? Welcome to the Realist Lounge, where culture meets context. I am your host, Shannon Nicole. Of course, you got my guy, our brother, joined by Unplug and Mark the model, the citizen. What's going on, brothers?
What's up, Sam?
What's happening? Dang, they must want me to call y'all niggas today. That's what happened. That's why they paused on us. All right, I can't call y'all brothers. Okay, see what I'm saying? You see what I'm saying? That's a conspiracy.
They on that bullshit already. We ain't even got
started.
They on
that BS already.
We ain't even got started yet.
Right. So welcome everybody.
We outcast.
Are you streaming on Facebook?
Outcast.
Yeah.
It ain't popping up.
Because we're shadow banned. What else is new?
Usually, as soon as I pull it up, there we go. We good. I gotta make.
I am already understanding that majority of the people that watch our show is because of the clips that we post. They don't shadow ban. They shadow ban the live, but that's okay because you can't stop the truth from coming out. That's why we post videos. So thank you to the two people that are currently here live, and everybody else who's going to be joining throughout the broadcast. So we good. It's all good. We're gonna keep it going. But tonight we are talking about my hometown, the G, Gary, Indiana, because thousands of residents were left without power following one of the largest outages in NIPSCO's history. Now we're going beyond the social media arguments, and we're asking whether this storm exposed decades of neglect in the city America stopped caring about. I'm not gonna hold you. Gary been left in the dark for a long time. We'll also be discussing Stephen A. Smith and his little rant about I already know you go. I actually found this for you because I know you're gonna have fun with it, fool. I know you're gonna have fun with this situation. Politics is your thing. We all been watching Stephen A. Smith kind of, be in the gray area for quite some time. Don't nobody know if he Republican, if he Democrat. One minute you for the Republicans, next minute you for the Democrats, but you mess with black women, so they on your ass like back pockets, as my man say. So you mess with black women, the Democrats is coming for your neck. If you mess with women and gays, you on the Democrat shit list. I'm the Democrat shit list. I'm just letting you know that. So apparently Stephen A. Smith got their panties in a bunch, excuse me. And of course, we'll be talking about the weird situation going on with this Tupac Shakur murder trial. And why are we now hearing about this 30 years later? I looked at it and I was scrolling and judging, y'all know me, and I was just like, dang. So I guess they ain't got us distracted enough. They had to just throw this out there. But anyway, let's go ahead and get it going. Let's see who is here right now. They probably late just like we were. Apologies for that. We had some a few issues, but it's all good. The show's gonna keep going, and we're gonna jump it off with freaking fresh off.
This is fresh off the press.
What's making headlines?
Let's separate fact
From fiction.
fresh off the press.
All right. So fresh off the press is basically when my amazing co-host actually brings some stories that kind of had them raising their eyebrows throughout the week. I'm excited to hear about what's going on. I think I'm gonna start with Fool this time because I always start with Mark. So this time I'm gonna start with you, Fool. What you see that kind of has you raising your eyebrows and saying WTF, which I know you said loud and proud.
I sent you the message on TikTok.
I haven't been on TikTok, bro.
No, I'm saying that because you said I always send it to you. I can't give this an introduction. I'm gonna let y'all just watch this.
All right. So you sent it to me on TikTok.
Mm-hmm.
If it's any consolation, I sent mine on IG.
Okay, well, let me go to the one on IG.
Let me send. I can do the same thing. I can do the same thing.
Send it to me on IG. I'm gonna go to it on I'm gonna go to it on IG first.
Give me 1 second, because the great thing about it is the post is actually from IG.
Oh, well, shoot. Okay, that's pretty simple.
Yep.
You and this WNBA.
There we go. No.
I'm talking about Mark.
I know. Here's right. What? It's gonna be so funny to talk about that one, but I just sent it to you on IG.
All right, Mark. You want to give us an introduction on what your fresh off the press is?
So, if it's another week, it's another episode in the WNBA. So let's get right on down to it. Y'all, chaos almost broke out last night at the Indiana Fever versus Chicago Sky basketball game. And I use the term basketball game very loosely. Now, during the game, Enes Kanter Freedom showed up to the game, and before they even entered the arena, let's just say they were accosted with harassing comments, threatening comments, and just an overall hostile environment, albeit by men wearing WNBA jerseys. Do with that as you will.
What?
Now, before he even gets into the stadium. Now, he gets into the stadium, y'all, and as he does, let's just see the chaos that ensues with Natasha Cloud. Go ahead and roll the clip, Shannon.
All right. Okay.
Chicago staying in it. Natasha Cloud. And right before the break, this was the scene inside Wintrust Arena after Natasha Cloud got that bucket. She wanted her voice heard. We have talked about the conversations surrounding the W. That is Enes Kanter in the building today. And he has voiced how he's felt about the situation. Natasha Cloud voicing her opinion as well. Kanter was just escorted out.
Enes Freedom is probably doing more right now for the WNBA than anybody else. And those women on there owe him a debt of gratitude. Future WNBA superstar Enes Freedom was kicked out of the WNBA game last night when Natasha Cloud had some words with him.
Okay.
So, yeah. As you can see, Natasha Cloud is 5'0", maybe 130 pounds soaking wet, going up to Enes Freedom. Sis, if you don't go sit your little flea ass down somewhere, if that person were to literally flick you, you would fly across the arena. So let's get the fake tough bravado shit out of here. The next thing, why is a league that's supposed to be dedicated towards women so busy and so hamstrung by acting like men? Why is it that Natasha Kanter, because I got her name mixed up with the guy, because that's exactly how she was acting in the moment. When you're out there in a family-friendly environment and all you can think to do is talk about how Enes Freedom wants to sleep with a WNBA player, or to make mention of the F-bomb and this, that, and the third, where there are children, teenagers, it's supposed to be a family-friendly environment. Now, as someone who has attended games in the NHL, the NBA, the NFL, the MLB, bottom line, the Big Four. I've gone to every kind of sporting event. And as a matter of fact, I was at the Texas Rangers game on Saturday, right? I say that to say this. Each and every one of those leagues emphasizes on it being a family-friendly environment. An environment that is set for children. An environment where a mom can bring her daughter, bring her son, a dad can bring his entire family and get wholesome, clean, good fun for a very low and affordable price. That is how the WNBA initially marketed itself. But how do they come across? Angry, vicious, full of vitriol, full of hatred, ultra woke, wanting to be agenda driven. And then when you look at what happened during this game, bro, this was such an embarrassment. Enes Freedom, all he did was show up to a game in which he paid a ticket for. I mean, I'm thinking like there's probably a lot of other things he could have wasted his money on than a ticket at a WNBA game. But since he decided to join, he decided to go and participate. And while he was supporting Sophie Cunningham, because God forbid a person actually support biological women in a biological women league, is, I know it's a crazy idea, but God forbid someone actually supports women. And then you get a person like Natasha Cloud trying to be aggressive, trying to be a thug. And then you wonder why people are actively trying to boycott this league. Now, I was at a barbecue restaurant yesterday near Arlington, Texas, when a WNBA game was taking place. I think it was the Dallas Wings that played there, right? And so as the game was letting out, I'm looking at all of the people, maybe the 15 or 20 or so fans that were at attendance in this game. I'm watching them as they come out, and I'm looking at these people, and in my mind, I'm thinking, is this a basketball game or is this a gay pride festival? And I'm wondering, what kind of messaging are you trying to send? And then it's like you want us to talk about the problem on the court, but look at this shit. I'll leave it at that. Y'all have at it.
Mark, what did Enos Cantor's shirt say?
The Webster's definition of a woman.
And what was the definition?
An adult human female.
Okay. So let's get this straight. The future #1 draft pick of the WNBA came to a game to support their future league. Front row seat. I mean, he paid top dollar. So he paid a good $25 for that seat. Top dollar.
You know?
Not now. On top of that, the player gets aggressive with him. Her. Then this future player gets kicked out of a woman's game for supporting women. Somebody please make that make sense to me. This literally, the fact that he's giving more attention to the league rather than the game, #1, that's a problem. And #2, they are mocking this league just for y'all to say a woman is this, and they refuse to do it. The longer they do it, the worse they look. And for me, I find it comical because it's not that hard. But they want to be so politically correct that it's crazy because they want to target a particular audience when their audience should be young girls.
Yep.
Now, mind you, who would bring their young girls to games? Fathers. That's usually how that would happen because the mother, she don't want to go to that shit. So they want to objectify basically little girls by not pressing them up. And I'm going to throw a little monkey wrench in this. Where's Michelle Obama? Where's Jasmine Crockett? Where's AOC? Where's all of them that push the women shit to push this for women? They're non-existent, and it's sad. It is honestly and truly sad.
Because they plight is for chicks with dicks.
Yes. Yes.
That's what it is. And I'm sorry to use that derogatory word, but they don't really care about women. They don't even care about men. They don't care about the masculinity of women. They have pretty much like shaped femininity into this actually toxic masculine energy. So they do not care about the femininity of it. We could look at Cheryl Swoops from back in the day, and we could tell that she was still feminine when she got up off that court. There was a few women that I remember, and I didn't even watch WNBA, and I used to be like, dang, like even when you think of tennis stars, if you think of Serena, like they were still feminine women. I just don't know why everything has to be so like woke.
Wait a minute.
And I mean toxic woke. I even hate saying the word woke because y'all took that and made it a toxic name. So it's just I hate that this is happening right now. I feel bad for young girls who want to actually play basketball and that this is actually a goal for them because this is their opposition. Now their opposition is no longer going to be other girls who play basketball. It's possibly going to be boys in dresses You're going to be fighting Chi Rodriguez out there from 2-1 Fu in order to figure out whether or not you're going to win this game. And that's a sad time that we're in. They just took everything from kids. I'm sorry, they took everything from these kids now, including sports.
Before we go on to the next topic, I got to throw this out. The same young lady that said what she said to Enes Kanter did an interview afterwards and was complaining about dudes that were throwing dildos on the court. So my whole thing is, how are you talking about these dudes throwing dildos on the court when you use them too? That to me makes no sense. And had the nerve to say how weird it was and you throwing green ones on the court, but you use them. So what are you talking about? You outing yourself and it makes it worse, because I'm willing to bet some of those dildos on the court, some of them players are probably like, let me take this home with me,
bruh.
So
when I seen the dildo hit the court, bro, like I live for those kind of moments. One, I'm one of those people who just want this league to go away because I think it's a cesspool, and I think that most of these women are a cancer on the society of America. Like I don't want this league around. So when I see shit like this happening, it makes my heart warm, because if I had a daughter, I would want her to play any and every sport except basketball, because I feel like basketball is like a conduit for lesbianism. And I'm sorry, no disrespect to anybody that lived that type of lifestyle, but if I were to have children, I would want grandchildren. I would want a legacy to continue. So I would not want to steer my child towards anything that's going to impact that, or anything that's going to take them off that trajectory. No, you can't control what a child's going to do once they become an adult. Absolutely not. But you can train up a child to be what they're supposed to be and to do things accordingly. And all I'm saying is, pro basketball, when it comes for women, it seems like all they want to do is hoop and hump. And it seems like they've been quiet for the last 30 years, hooping and humping in the dark. Nobody been saying anything. They just been allowing it to happen. And then Caitlin Clark showed up and real money got put behind this league. And now the light is being shined into the little dark little cracks and crevices. And what you're seeing is women on the same team who date each other. You're seeing a very toxic environment. First of all, like, think about women on the same team dating each other and how much of a conflict of interest that is. Then you have a team like in Dallas who drafted Ozzie Fudd, who's not the number one pick, clearly Olivia Miles is, but drafted her number one all because her girlfriend is Paige Beckers and on the same team. Like, how can you take this shit seriously? And then they tell you that they want you to talk about the product on the court. How? The product on the court is shit. If Caitlin Clark's not playing, it's trash. Now, are there some good players in the league? Yes, I just named one in Olivia Miles. But when you watch the product from start to finish, it's literally running, fouling, and missing layup after layup after layup. And fool laughing because you know I'm right. Like, it's not like I'm even saying this shit to be mean or to be hurtful. But we have to be honest. You and I both know these people that will cape up for the WNBA will not sit and watch it from quarter 1 to quarter 4. You know why? Because you would rather watch grass grow. You would rather watch paint dry than to watch a full 4 quarters of WNBA basketball. And that's with Caitlin Clark playing. And by the way, she had a fantastic game. She drained 8 threes in Dejanay Carrington's face, might I add. And I only bring her name up because that was the one who tweeted white privilege last week. And I'm just wondering how that white privilege tasted as she was draining those threes in your face.
I'm gonna give a little pushback on that only for this point. The league is really supposed to be for young girls, so what they can aspire to. I wouldn't want the league to go away. I just wish they would highlight the game, even though the game is garbage.
Yeah.
That's where they're at because they don't have anything to highlight. But this is the other thing too that they kind of skirting around. There's a lot of feminine women in the WNBA. There's a lot of them, but they want to keep pushing the agenda. So to me, it's a fight within the league because even though Angel Reese cannot make a fucking layup, we get that. Angel Reese is very feminine. She's very feminine. So, but they don't talk about that. I mean, she does her own thing. It's like the league is pushing against that. That's also a problem. That's why, in my personal opinion, I think there's an internal fight in the league that they're going out. Because think about all the straight women that's in the league. They don't want to really speak up about this. The only one strong enough was the white chick. We have not heard from any other player besides her or Sophie Cunningham, whatever her name is. She's the only one to speak up and say it. You haven't heard from one other heterosexual straight female in the league to say they feel the same way. And
you know why?
But if they did, it would fuck the whole league up because it destroys their agenda.
I'm about to say that's because those women step and fetch. The Asia Wilsons and the Angel Reeses, they serve the agenda. They suck on the woke teeth. They know that as long as they come out there and they support this lesbianistic agenda with the rest of the league, they're going to get shine. That's the reason why the league continues to glaze Angel Reese. When she has a great game, it's the greatest game in the world. When she has a bad game, it really wasn't that bad. When Caitlin Clark doesn't even play, then it's like, oh my God, that they're lying about this, that, and the third. When she has an amazing game, it's crickets. Like I said, we're on here talking about what happened between Enes Kanter Freedom and Natasha Cloud, not talking about Caitlin Clark's historic basketball game last night. She dropped 8 threes, which is a record for her. I'm not even sure if that's a record in the league, but I know that was a record for her. So, I mean, I would think that's some sort of a basketball big deal. But again, in the basketball league, we don't really give a shit about the basketball. It's more about the drama that's entertaining. Right. And I'm just like, this is an absolute mockery. And if I'm gonna be real, I'm gonna say something that's kind of a hot take. I think that Adam Silver and the NBA is allowing the WNBA to tank itself.
Probably.
I truly believe that, because if you look at what happened with Dejanay Carrington, how she wasn't even fined, and that was a clear violation of WNBA rules. When you look at the WNBA's inability to draw a hard line with this whole Enes Kanter Freedom and Royce White situation, they refuse to draw a line in the sand. When you look at the higher ups and how they refuse to weigh in on everyday mundane situations and how they refuse to find these players, it's like they're allowing them to say and do anything. Have you seen the press conference of Natasha Cloud after the green dildo incident when she's dropping F-bombs and saying all kinds of curse words? This is a press conference, keyword being press. That means everyone is looking at this, and all you can think to do is drop F-bombs and drop all kinds of curse words. And I'm like, sis, do you not recognize you're not just talking to your homegirl? You are talking to the public. You're talking to people who could potentially want to, invest in your league and help you really get to the bag. Y'all want to be paid like the NBA, then you have to understand you got to play like the NBA. And I'm not talking about on the court. I'm talking about the game as in when you're attracting people. Imagine if LeBron James was a hateable person. Imagine, like, he's polarizing at times, but for the most part, people fucking love LeBron James.
Yeah.
There's nowhere in the world you can go where there's going to be a large conglomeration of people that actively hate LeBron James. All I'm saying is these WNBA players, they don't even make names for themselves, but they make themselves hateable. You don't even know if Natasha Cloud's a good player, which from my understanding, she actually is a halfway decent player. But when you listen to her talk and you watch her actions, like what she did yesterday at the basketball game, it makes her hateable. It makes her the kind of person that you want to see fail, not do well, not a person that you want to invest in. And this is the problem that the WNBA suffers from. And this is why I think that the league is and the NBA is allowing this shit to tank. That way they don't have to look like the bad guy when the inevitable happens, which is this league folds and goes away.
I don't watch none of this kind of y'all stuff. I don't watch sports in my house, but I kind of keep up with certain things, and I personally ain't never really been a fan of the WNBA.
Back in the day, when that shit
back
first
in the
started,
day, back in the day, it used to be
fire.
popping.
When that shit the first 4-5 seasons, I would give it 10. First 10 seasons was actually fire.
When the Houston Comets was running shit, they was halfway decent. Yes. Like when they had, I think her name was Shamika Holslaw. When they had Lisa Leslie,
Leslie, yes,
yeah. I mean, they had some people who could really play basketball, bro. And it was a product that wasn't geared on agenda. It was just geared on basketball. This is the female version of it. That's it.
Yeah.
And then somewhere along the line, they got lost in the sauce and started becoming woke. But everybody knows when you go woke, you go broke. So it is what it is.
Apparently, they ain't listening. Because they still going woke.
They will when Adam Silver and then pull that plug. Like, we tried, sis.
So why do you think that they are like trying to pull the plug on the WNBA? You think that maybe they're going to take it and make it mainly for trans women?
Nah,
Could that be it?
No, because the problem is really the biggest thing is the product is trash. The thing about
why do you think? Why though?
Because the biggest thing about basketball is anybody can shoot. Now I will say that. Now women's basketball usually they can shoot. That's not a. But missing layups goes back to elementary school. When you watch girls basketball, unless they're a very, very sound team like in college, they miss a lot of layups. And when you see, like, I'm gonna tell you right now. First, do you ever play basketball, Shannon? Okay.
No.
I guarantee you, if you gave me an hour, I could show you how to make a layup to the point where even if you get contested, you're gonna make more than you miss. These girls miss layups and they're open. That's a problem. When I say it looks bad, it looks real bad because they do it a lot. So,
Dang.
in other words, it makes the game unwatchable. That's the big thing. So
it's not worth the money.
Yeah,
they charge you.
And the girls, like, it's not gonna go anywhere because they've been losing money. I think they've been losing money since the inception. It's not gonna go anywhere.
For the past 30 years, they've been losing money.
Yeah, they're gonna keep it. But the only way for them to elevate, the product has to get better. Now, I will say, when Gilbert Arenas' daughter get into the league, you about to see some shit. There's also a young lady with a crazy handle. When she started embarrassing everybody, I'm probably going to watch so I can laugh. I'm going to see a lot of girls fall when they shake. Because to me, it's going to be, I find the shit comical.
I think she's going to Project B, bro, to be honest. I really think that the WNBA is in real trouble. If you look at what's happening, this is the first season after the new CBA, and this is what's happening in the league. And you look at the higher ups, how Kathy Eagleburg blew off the interview with not Rich Eisen, but I can't think of the dude's name from ESPN. It was a real big deal. She blew off the interview while she was off golfing. Like the shit that's happening in the piss poor management, I'm like, it's being done on purpose, in my opinion. And I truly think that they're doing this as a way to find an out without looking like the bad guy. Because why would you keep something for 30 years unless you were afraid of the social backlash? Because it's losing money. Financially, you could cut bait and move on. They want to talk about they want to be paid what they're worth. Well, technically, they owe the league money because of how much money that the WNBA has lost over the past 30 years. Technically, their salaries would be negative.
What's Project?
Damn.
What's Project?
Yeah, it would be like each person would owe like $73,000, like real shit. Each person in the league would owe $73,000.
Mark, what's Project B?
Oh, Project B is a new league that's coming out. That's if I'm not mistaken, is owned by the Saudis and some other partners, and they're going to be debuting here soon. And they're trying to grab a lot of players, and it's going to be, you know,
they about to get fucked.
We talked about it's a lot of money behind this league, so it's going to be real competition. That's the reason why I really think that the WNBA ultimately is going to win, because they can't really generate enough sponsorship. There are no, other than Caitlin Clark and Sophie Cunningham, there are no superstars. And then instead of understanding that the rising tide lifts all boats, these other women get jealous and then try to clip the shine of other women superstars. Like, instead of trying to emphasize Caitlin Clark, instead of trying to emphasize Sophie Cunningham, y'all finding ways to attack them on the court. Y'all finding ways to go viral, but you're doing it in a negative light, and then get mad when you don't get the attention and don't get the shine. And then you're letting your petty jealousy and your cattiness show. And it's like, yo, no one wants to see this. And you're talking about millions of dollars are now on the line. This isn't just a little mom and pop show anymore. There's real money behind this league now that they came through with this new CBA and what's projected to be made for the league. Now, they have been attached to the NBA, so the NBA set it up like a package deal. So any league that, any network that generates or plays NBA games also has to play the WNBA. So that's the reason why they're getting the amount of money that they're getting. If the NBA pulls the plug, it's over for them. And I'm just saying, if you look at what's happening and you read through the tea leaves, it would seem like they are allowing this shit to continue to spiral out of control because they're looking for an easy way out. That's just my opinion now.
Like I said, were you able to pull up my video?
You never told me which one it was.
The last one on IG.
Oh, they just kicked me off of Facebook.
What?
Mm-hmm.
Haters gonna hate.
Yep. It said we're having trouble streaming to Facebook. This may be an issue on Facebook's end. Is it possible the stream was ended or deleted on Facebook? We'll keep trying and let you know if it's resolved. Please check Facebook to ensure the stream looks okay. I'm telling y'all, they've been messing with me on every single platform. Do you understand that like TikTok has not been allowing me to post anything? Like unless if I'm talking about anything regarding anything that we're talking about within this show, they've been like, nope, can't say that. Nope, can't say that. Oh, you want to talk about Gary? Nope, can't say that. And it's so weird to me because this Gary situation, I'm seeing so many people go viral from it who aren't even from there, who don't have anything or any idea about Gary, Indiana, but they got so much to damn say about it.
We got 9 people watching on Twitter, so fuck them. It's all good.
It's pissing me off though, because like, bro, like why y'all got to mess up my broadcast? I'm just trying to get people to some soul food. I'm not doing nothing wrong.
It don't matter. Like once again, the break.
Butt naked frogs on here, dancing, doing it. Ain't nothing wrong. Ain't nobody naked. Ain't nobody smoking. Like it's just so weird.
Matter of fact, for anybody that's watching, if you're watching on a different platform, for the 9 people that's supposed to be watching on Twitter, please go watch us on YouTube. Go to the Realist Lounge, go subscribe and check us out on YouTube.
Please do, because like I'm just trying to understand what I did wrong. Facebook is, let me see if it's gonna let me fix it though. Okay, I see it here. I don't know, guys. It's not letting me. I'm sorry.
They gonna play with it, but I can't wait. I can't wait to see y'all faces when y'all hear what's said on this video that she plays.
Okay, this on IG you said?
Yeah. The last one I sent you.
Okay.
Get ready.
All right. Let me make sure that this is the correct one. This one?
White lady on the screen.
Hold on.
Okay.
Yep. Get ready. Just listen very closely.
All right.
Wait, I'm like, can you? Okay, hold on. Let me understand this. So while he's 11, I'll have access to his medical records. But once he turns 12, the government locks me out.
I'm sure you've heard of HIPAA.
Yeah,
so
of course.
He now has privacy rights under HIPAA once he's 12.
So as a parent, I can't see my 12-year-old's medical records?
No.
What? I thought it was 14.
Whoa. I gotta run that back.
Yeah.
Because I literally just got reconnected back to Facebook. So let me run that back for the people who are watching us on Facebook. Y'all gotta hear this again. Hold on. Let me start that over.
If you are a parent, you need to. I'm pretty sure she's in California.
Oh my God, I gotta start it over. Hold on, because I swear I was just saying the other day, like to be a parent right now, and your kids are like, you got like little kids, not like teenagers or nothing. Like that's got to be like some of the scariest. It's got to be the scariest situation. Wait. Let me know if everybody can hear it. Get out of here.
Hold on. Wait, I'm like, can you? Okay, hold on. Let me understand this. So while he's 11, I'll have access to his medical records. But once he turns 12, the government locks me out.
Yes, because there's the I'm sure you've heard of HIPAA.
Yeah,
so
of course.
He now has privacy rights under HIPAA once he's 12.
So as a parent, I can't see my 12-year-old's medical records?
No.
What? I thought it was 14. I've heard.
Okay, so it's crazy, and I'm not saying that, like, I'm the bearer of bad news. Please don't listen.
No, I understand. You're just doing your job. It's okay.
I don't even agree with it. So, but, like, I literally had to have my daughter come into the doctor's office with me and say, you can give my mother access to,
Oh my
elevated
God.
access. And you can request elevated access, but your child has to agree to it.
Got it. Okay, he's not even going to understand what that is.
I know. It's so crazy. You're like, you know what?
He's
My
an
daughter's
11-year-old
20.
boy.
My
He's
daughter's
like,
20 now, and she still goes, can't you call and make the doctor's appointment for me? And I'm like, no, sorry, I can't.
that is
Can't you go with
crazy
me?
work.
Yeah, it's crazy. So I'm so sorry, but yeah, but actually, what I can do for you, so Melissa, what is the best email?
Can you?
I've heard enough.
I've
heard enough of this malarkey.
I want y'all to understand something. Let's just put into perspective, bringing up HIPAA and let's say a medical bill. So if your child is 12, me as the parent, I can't look at the medical records. So you know what? Send the bill to the child. Make the child face the consequences of not paying the. See, this is not logical. That makes no sense. Because that same child, if that child comes in, let's say the child was drinking, you're gonna go after the parent for basically child neglect, correct? But you're not gonna let that parent look at the medical records. The balance of this shit is off. They are bugging. And like I said, I bet $1 to a donut, that's California. I'm willing to bet.
Better know it, because I guarantee you, first of all, she's oh my God. Oh, you knew exactly what was going on, ma'am.
No,
you
you gotta give her credit. She recorded it because she probably knew people wouldn't believe this shit.
People wouldn't believe it, but let's quit acting as if you probably didn't vote for it. Let's stop acting as if you probably was not aware of that. They were literally giving minors the okay to not even tell their parents that they were considering transitioning. Let's stop acting as if they haven't been giving children, literally kids who can't even decide when they go to bed, who can't even decide what kind of snacks that they're going to have, who can't even, most of them probably can't barely even walk up the street by themselves without an adult. But yeah, you could tell a child that it's okay for you to not tell your parents that we're going to put you through this process for you to transition to a whole nother gender. She's acting as if, yeah, she wants to laugh about it because now it's coming to her home. It's knocking at her door. See, they don't find nothing peculiar about any of these woke decisions until it starts coming to their doorstep. And she handled it like a G, because let that have been a Keisha,
man,
or a Lizette, a Maria. Let that have been one of these other people who probably didn't know about anything like this, who probably do vote Democrat, but don't fall for the liberal bullshit. Because in my opinion, I feel like it's two different parties. In my opinion, I do. I feel like that they've been infiltrated by some other kind of group of people, and they're bringing in these ideas that a lot of Democrats don't align with. And I know this because I got them in my family. Mm-hmm. I bet you if they went to somebody else, like my mom, and said that to my mom when I was a kid, oh, well, you can't access your child's medical records at 12 years old. Man, my mama would have told it. Listen, Kimberly would have tore that place apart just by her words. She would have never even had to touch nothing.
What about your grandmother would have blacked out too?
My grandma was old school. She ain't like hospitals, doctors, or anything like that anyway. She believed in herbs. She believed in natural process. She believed that she kept fish oil, aloe vera, and all that stuff. Like when I was living with my grandma was a firm believer in I would say natural ways of healing things.
Home remedy.
Yeah. My grandma didn't play about that. So we wouldn't have had that problem. But my mom though, yeah, my mama wouldn't have been okay with Dr. Claudia telling her that she can't access their records because I'm 12 years old. That's crazy. Let's go to the comments real quick, and then yeah, bro, I definitely want to hear from Mark because I know you got something to say. Shout out to the gracious virtue for joining us. We appreciate you. We also got my God DJ Knock in the building. Let me see here what we say. We'll say. Yeah, he said, yeah, I saw that a couple of weeks ago. Immediately sent it to a few that didn't believe this was a thing. Yeah, we do this broadcast for awareness, guys. We understand that we can't lead a horse to water and make them drink it. But a lot of these stories that we be giving to people be stories that you can't really hear on mainstream media. Mainstream media ain't really gonna bring it to you the way that we bring it to you. Neither is Breakfast Club. They're very leftist. We're all moderate. We're all moderately in the middle. We all probably voted the same way, but we all have different ideas. And I would say that we're pretty much independently thinking when it comes to politics, when it comes to these things that are culturally influencing to American culture, especially when it pertains to our community that we come from. So I just think that we need to be more aware about these things, man, especially if you're a parent, man. I've been saying this for years that these adults hate.
Mark said the same thing.
Don't say nothing, Mark, because Mark already stated it. I've been saying for years that these adults hate children. In what world does that make sense? Oh,
I just saw a video earlier, and I want to make sure I say this right. But the dude said something to the effect of, we live in a country where the government will want to take your child for neglect because you don't have the money to take care of the child, then proceed to give your child to someone and give them money to take care of the child. That's what, like, it's crazy when you really think about it, but people don't put logic to what's going on like that because it's all about just comply. And
yeah,
not enough people will actually say something and actually fight for what's just right. Yeah. And it's sad that and mind you, I think a lot of people have become numb to it. That's the other problem too. There's not enough people that would actually speak up for the things that are going on. Like I sent a message to her earlier saying I may have to leave at 7 because there was a meeting tonight about the data center. I'm glad to find out it's going to be on Wednesday, because bottom line is we have to do our part. If we don't step up, it's going to keep happening worse, and we have to lead by example.
I hear you, but I'm gonna be honest with you, bro. And I hate to say this and be the bearer of bad news, but they do not care about what y'all talking about in these community meetings. They really don't. The way that y'all are 9 times out of 10 are going to stop these data centers from coming to your community is probably going to be through violence. I'm sorry, it's gonna have to be anarchy. Y'all gonna have to set some shit on fire, because sitting in these community meetings and telling these people about what you want and what you don't want, they're gonna take that, and then guess what they're gonna do? They're gonna go right and do it. They're gonna do it because people have no idea that this has been something that they have been planting for years. None of this is new. The first data center in America was in the 60s. It does not matter. It does not matter. Y'all be going to these community meetings thinking that these people are actually listening to you, thinking that they actually look at y'all as constituents. They do not care. They don't care. That's why they put it in poor middle class communities. They don't put it in rich people's communities, because you know why? Rich people write a check. They write a check to these politicians to make sure that these things are not put in their community. Let me tell you something. I live in a rich neighborhood surrounded by mansions, also with a poor neighborhood surrounded by gunshots, bullet holes, and stab wounds. And guess what? Guess who got new streets? The street right around the corner with the mansions. The one that has the bullet holes and stab wounds with the crackheads standing in front of the liquor stores, they don't have new streets. The fact of the matter is that talking is not going to do anything. The only thing these people care about is, are you going to write that check? Are you going to write that check to endorse this project? And if you feel some type of way about this project, you damn near got to go to the offices. I don't know if you ever watched this show Reacher, and then I'm gonna be done. I watched this show Reacher. If y'all don't watch Reacher, highly recommend it. It's a very good show if you like that military combat action type stuff, right? Reacher travels from place to place, and he always finds himself in these crazy situations where he's helping out middle people. He's helping out the little people. And somehow, some way, even though he is not known to anybody in this town and he's not afraid of anybody, he always goes to the source. This man walked into a congressional hearing, a congressional hall with blood on his shirt and a bruise on his head. And guess what? He went in there and demanded answers for something. People ain't willing to do that. So when y'all go to these community meetings, it really is just like they looking at y'all like, oh, okay, well, this is just another temper tantrum. I hate to say that it's like that, but they don't care, bro. They don't. You know how many community meetings they've been having all across this country regarding these data centers? Has it stopped one? It might pause it, but it hasn't stopped anything. They're not going to stop. They're going to keep building it until they ruin the world. And then once they ruin the world, they're going to hide off into their underground bunkers underneath the cities. So I hear you. I'm just telling you, you're wasting your time. You're wasting your time. It's not going to stop anything. AI is here. And they're building more. They're building more and building more. It's not going anywhere, bro. It's not. Sorry. Mark?
Well, in regards to the video that we just listened to, I don't feel no kind of way about it, to be honest.
Why?
If you vote, why don't I feel no kind of way about it? Because
yes.
I'm of the mindset of, if this is what you voted for, why would I be mad at people getting what they voted for? I mean, the people in Seattle, you know, I find it kind of comical, are complaining about the crime on North Aurora Avenue. They're talking about how, you know, the jobs are leaving the city and how, you know, Amazon is leaving and Starbucks is leaving. But you voted for a mayor who said that when the corporation is going to leave, well, bye, they can go.
Right.
So when you go to the voting booth and you vote for this, when you look at what's happening in New York and it is turned into New Yorkistan, it's not even America anymore. You voted for this. So then when you hear these people talking about, no, you can't see your child's record, even though you pay for this little crumb snatching bastard, you should thank yourself when you went down to that voting booth and you voted blue, no matter who. You didn't even consider the other side because you thought the other side was racist. You thought the other side was full of bigots, but you have cut your nose off to spite your face. The same people who keep talking about socialism in Chicago, who voted for Brandon Johnson in Chicago, have had their city overrun by migrants, have had their property taxes quadrupled. Businesses are leaving the city. Even the Chicago Bears have left the city or in the process of leaving. And so when you look at the people who go to the voting booth and again, vote blue, no matter who, this is par for the course. Why should I be upset at people who are getting what they wanted? You wanted this shit. You wanted these people to take over. You wanted the inclusivity. You wanted the globalization. You wanted capitalism to go away. You wanted all of these things to happen. You wanted the America that you once knew to die, and we wanted the brand new way. Well, congratulations. This is the new way. Now, when your child turns 12, you as a parent no longer have access to their legal or their medical records. So that means if your child wants to cut their yank off, you can't do nothing about it, but guess who got to pay for it? That's you, Mom Dukes. Congratulations. Again, you played yourself.
Food.
Well, I spoke my piece on it. All I can say is, if people don't get more involved and do the right thing, this is going to be a perpetual type of situation. And the fact that more people don't read the fine print and they immediately sign things, that is part of the problem. And if you don't fix that, it's always going to be their solution because people don't take the time out to read anything.
Nope.
I'm talking about
civics does
anything.
No, they don't.
That's why it needs to be a
don't
civics
read.
test. Before you can vote or gain your citizenship, there needs to be a civics test. You know the civics
I
test
thought
that we
it
give.
used to be one.
Yeah, the civics test that they give to foreigners who come over and get citizenship legally. That civics test needs to be standard issue to every single American. You need to be able to know that. You need to have the mindset and understand the importance of what it is that you're doing when you go to that voting booth. You're going in there, like I seen this video of this guy, and he was talking about how he hated capitalism and how he supported socialism. Now, this guy was a street vendor who was selling t-shirts
you talk about Nate
$60 a pop. And
Nate
so the
Friedman.
The reporter who was interviewing him asked him and said, now, what if the government said that they want you to now sell these at $40 a pop? What would you say to that? And then he was like, nah, I ain't going for that. No way. It's my free market, this, that, and the third. And I'm like, your dumbass don't even realize that you are about to vote against the shit that you are actually benefiting from. You benefit from capitalism, but yet you want it to go away. You got to make this shit make sense. Like, do you even the cognitive dissonance that our public is suffering from? Not just black people either, because I always be on black folks' neck, but this is all of us. This is every race, every demographic. The cognitive dissonance that exists in America right now is absolutely horrific.
What's her name? Shannon made a great video because she showed this clown talk about how Mondami need to come to Indianapolis or whatever.
Man.
And so you factor that in. Then you factor in these teachers that are saying that kids can't read, they don't know how to do math. You have politicians taking the onus of reading math and reading, writing, and arithmetic out of the school system and this, that, whatever. And it shows you why they can make a movie like Idiocracy and it can come to pass. Because that right there is where we're headed to. The fact that man said, when I watched that video, I could see it in her face. I'm like, do you have any idea about Mondami? You sitting there watching clips on social media and you have not talked to one New Yorker. You haven't talked to one. That's the reason why I'm looking forward to tonight, because me and Mark, we don't live in Indiana. She does. She has direct access to people, so we can hear from the horse's mouth about all of this shit. So for people that talk about certain subjects, that's why I've always been a fan of this. Before you talk about certain things in certain places, if you're not communicating with people from there, shut the fuck up. Please.
It's so woke here. It's like, look, like I said, I was a Democrat my entire life. My family is all Democrats. I'm probably the only conservative in my family. And I'm new to the conservative party. I wouldn't say I'm a Republican. I would say I'm a conservative. I have conservative views, but I do believe in freedom of choice on certain things. So I'm a little bit in the middle, but they have allowed so much fraud to take place in this city alone. A lot of the fraud, a lot of things going on with, when I was telling you about the rental market here, I made a video about that. They are allowing foreigners to come to Indiana, buy a property. Okay. They're upping the cost of the property and they're not selling it. They're renting these homes, which wouldn't be a problem. The fact is that they're renting these homes knowing that you have mold, knowing that this home could potentially flood, knowing that, and then most of these homes are all in the same neighborhoods, y'all. They're all in these neighborhoods that have a very bad crime problem. It's like they're pushing a certain group of people to one side of the city. And then they're pushing others who can't afford, like if you can't afford $1,300 in rent, you're going to be pushed to the poor areas. Now, these are apartments in places that used to be probably about $900, maybe $800, $700 3 years ago. And now they're like $1,200, $1,300, $1,400. But then on top of that, you got to worry about the fact that this place may actually flood. this roof might actually cave in. When you turn your heater on, you may actually have mold that was painted on. So they're not even doing inspections on these properties, but yet they're letting these people buy them up and rent them out. They have created wokeism in such a way to where you don't even feel comfortable with renting from anybody. You don't even feel comfortable with buying a home. A new home nowadays is literally made of paste and fiddlesticks and glue. They're not even, I've heard so many complaints when it comes to these new homes now. I just don't know where we are in America to where what happened to America's best? What happened to USDA choice where everything was just built to last?
I sold it.
Man, they pimped out the market.
You sold
like
it.
a $2 hole.
Yeah, they sold it. They, everything is difficult, and I'm not, I've never been to Indiana, so I don't know how it is there. But if Indiana is anything like how Maryland is, you have your haves and you have nots. You have the people who are doing really well in life. Those people are, the people who I would call like people who live in like Columbia, Maryland, right? People who live in Howard County. If you look at the median household income for Howard County in Maryland, it's like one of the highest in the nation, right? Mm-hmm. But then you go to look at Baltimore City. Baltimore is one of the poorest cities in the nation. And you look at how economically depressed the city is, and you know what else goes hand in hand with it? Mm-hmm. Baltimore is a very woke place. You can't even think of mentioning the idea of repping the other side or even an idea from the other side. So when you have the same exact group of people who have made the decisions in a particular area for over 50 to 60 years, there is a mindset that becomes ingrained and enshrined within the community. And that is one of victimhood. When you listen to some of the people who I heard in the Gary, Indiana situation, because I know we're going to segue to that here in a bit. When I listen to some of the people, and one lady in particular, really had me thinking to myself. And this lady, she was asking President Trump for help. And what I was thinking to myself, like, I think that Gary, Indiana needs to get the federal aid, to help get the city back online and get it functioning because it is an American city. But damn if I didn't find it ironic that a place as woke, because I already know it's a black city, so it has to be woke. That's just how we get down. I already know the mindset. No matter what city you go to, from Baltimore to Indiana, it's the same. So these same exact people talk shit about Donald Trump day in and day out. Orange man bad, orange man this, and I can't stand the Republicans and all that. But yet, in your time of need, when it's darkest before the dawn, whose name did you call on? Mr. Trump, can you come help? And all I'm saying is, y'all have to make it make sense. My heart goes out to anybody that's struggling right now. I'm not making light of anybody's pain or anybody that had to, waste their food or whatever. But like I said, I just find it kind of ironic. The exact same people who was talking shit and Kamala Harris and now that shit has gone bad. Now it's, oh, Mr. Trump, can you help? One thing about them tables, y'all, they gonna turn.
Well, hold on. Let me say something. I first off, Gary ain't woke. They just Democrats. They not woke. They not woke. You're not gonna drive through Gary and see a bunch of rainbow. You're not gonna see under that. Gary is just Democrat because that's what Gary knows how to do. That's what Gary has always been. I don't think Gary has ever voted Republican because it's no different than how a lot of us voted just Democrat because we didn't know no better. And the thing with Gary is that, like, when it comes down, I'm not gonna hold you. This is one thing that did piss me off about Trump. You only gave Indiana, and I think this was some Gemini stuff, and I'm gonna tell you why. You only gave Indiana $5 million for help. $5 million. For 52 to 53 counties, that's not enough. When you gave Asheville $10 billion for funding. Now I don't know if Gary, if Trump was like, you know what, no, you fix it because you didn't look out for me when it came to the race that they had at the beginning of the year. So I don't know if it was like he just ain't messing with Braun because Braun kind of did some dirty shit when it comes to what he promised Trump. He could have been. Look, I live with a Gemini. I know them. But at the same time, I hear you. 1 second. At the same time, $5 million is not enough. Now, when it comes to the Republican Party here in Indiana, they have failed that community miserably. They have. But the thing is, what I don't like is I don't like how they've made it so racial. Granted, yes, Gary is a predominantly Black community, but Gary ain't the only place that don't have lights. My mama lived in Maryville. They didn't have lights. You know what I'm saying? There's East Chicago. There's Hammond. There's Joliet. There's so many other places around that area in Northwest Indiana that did not have lights. What I think happened, though, is this was a play by the Democrats to once again use Black suffering as a political move. That is exactly what they have done. That's exactly why so many people got on board, because I guarantee you if this was a community of Black people who are part of the 13% that voted for Trump, they would not give a damn. Gary, Indiana has been on the downward spiral for a long time. They got a good mayor right now that actually cares. But what I don't like is how so many people who aren't even in Gary, who ain't never been through Gary, who ain't never drove through Gary, who never gave a damn about Gary when it was the murder capital of the country. Y'all didn't give a damn about when all of those schools was closing. They closed half of Gary, Indiana schools. Half of them. All the schools my granddad went to school, my mom went to school, my aunties went to school, my brothers, my uncles, they closed all the schools down. They don't have no jobs out there. People got to drive all to other places in order to get jobs. They did the same thing that they did to other places and inflated it with immigrants. They've allowed so much to happen in Gary, and it pisses me off to see that so many people have made it political and made it racial, when really, truth be told, the infrastructure in Gary has suffered for a long time because of both parties. The Republicans for not giving them the funding when they needed it, and the Democrats that ran it to the damn ground. So if we're really going to talk about Gary, let's talk to the people who were born there, who actually saw it fall apart. Because I jumped off the porch in Gary, Indiana, 1982, born and raised, Methodist Hospital. Don't play with me.
Y'all, I got some, and to hammer down Shannon's point about how economically depressed the city of Gary, Indiana actually is. Back in the 70s, U.S. Steel employed 30,000 people, right? By 2007, it was down, by 2005, it was down to 7,000. So that gives you an idea of what we're talking about, right? A third of the homes in Gary, Indiana are currently either abandoned or unoccupied. Yep. Okay. So like it's tough out there. The median income in Gary, Indiana is around 39,000 or like a little bit under. The median household value is right around $91,150. Just to give you an idea of how rough it is out there, the poverty in Gary, Indiana is 3 times the national average. So I'm not saying these stats to talk about how these people deserve to be shit upon or shat upon, right? I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is Shannon is right when she talked about how this city has been neglected, how this city has been forgotten. There's been a lot of things that have impacted this city, mainly the tax base eroding because of US's reliance on foreign steel and other steel automation companies, becoming more competition for US steel. And so that's kind of what happened. Gary, Indiana was a town built for U.S. Steel. It was supposed to be a company town, and then in the 50s it had ballooned to over 200,000 residents when it was a bustling city. And like I said, by the 70s they had over 30,000 people working for the United States Steel Corporation, and it was set on Lake Michigan. It had the plant was a perfect location. Gary actually used to be a halfway decent place, and then over time, as you know, different factors started to set in, the economic depression began to set in on the city, and they haven't been able to recover from it.
No, they haven't. Go ahead, Pooh. I'm sorry. I went off.
Nah, I would just say you mentioned you can't be mad at Trump for the money that went to Gary, because that has nothing to do with Trump. That has something to do. Remember, that money is allocated to the state, and the state is going to allocate where the money goes. So whoever was in charge, they decided to only give Gary $5 million, which goes to show what you talked about before, saying how Gary has been fucked up for a while, because it seems like they don't give a fuck about Gary. And mind you, this is something I heard. I haven't looked into it. They said Memphis don't have no power either.
Memphis don't.
So
they I'm gonna tell y'all, like, the vintage tea that I have for y'all, it ain't really gonna be too much, because it's gonna veer off right into what we're talking about. So I'm not gonna put too much into vintage tea that tonight. But like, bro, there is some real life factors that are at play. The thing is that when it comes to Gary, I guess I'm looking at the fact that Trump got a relationship with Gary. He bought the boat there when he was buying boats over there. I think he had a boat out there in Jersey. He had a boat out there in Gary as well. And they bought jobs, but he ended up neglecting that boat and sold it because he started having bankruptcy. He had a bankruptcy that was going on. So I think that, like, what I'm saying is that, like, it's not his job, but then again, it really kind of is, because you gave billions to North Carolina. So why $5,000 to 52 counties? That doesn't make a bit of sense. But like I said, I really truly think that he looking at it like this. Braun said earlier this year that the state was doing good. We had like we had a couple $1 billion worth of surplus. On top of that, he just did a deal with Israel for technology. Oh yeah. So the spotlight that was not once on Indiana is definitely on Indiana, and not in the best light. It's not. And this just really kind of seals the deal, because now people are thinking like, oh, well, wait a minute. When we think of Indiana, we don't think of Black people. People don't even know Black people live in Indiana. I know this. When I moved to Georgia, they was like, really? Black people are from there? Really? Yes.
It's the same. Yeah, it's like that in a lot of places. I've heard people say the same thing about like Arkansas and shit like that. And I'm like,
it's crazy.
Y'all bugging, because y'all act like just now. It's only one place. It's only one place in the country where it's really not a lot of Black people. It's really only one.
Yeah, Utah.
Thank you. That's the only place. And I know this for a fact, because one of the cats that was on my team when I was doing network marketing, he actually moved to Utah. He was like, yo, fool, it's really not no Black people here. And I was like, I kind of expected that. But the thing about this is, it's the way they want to politicize it, and they want to make it racial again, because once they're always doing anything they can to make it got to be Black against white. And this is my thing for everybody out there making the videos, well, you know, the Black people in Gary, there's white people that live there too. So stop the bullshit. Stop making everything racial, because it's not. The fact is, whatever's going on in Gary and that community, and I guess the finance, however the finances go there, they don't give a fuck about Gary. They don't care. Now, I'm pretty sure it's other cities around it that they may care about, but Gary is one of them that they don't. That's why shit ain't getting national attention.
I'm gonna be honest with you, bro. And I really thought about it. I made a video about it, and at first I did not think that it was right, but it's always been racial when it comes to Gary. Always. And now I'm gonna show you in the Vintage Tea tonight why it's always been racial when it comes to Gary, because Gary never started out, as a lot of places did, never started out predominantly Black. It didn't really start falling apart until Black people migrated there. And the thing is that the way that it jumped it off, and the reason why there's really not a lot of jobs in Gary is because there was only supposed to be people who work for the steel mill. The steel mill was supposed to employ everybody. It was a project. See, a lot of these little cities here in Indiana, I don't know if they have them in other places. There were projects. They were just projects for the industrialized system, for places to build plants and mills. You know what I mean? East Chicago, perfect example. Excuse me. East Chicago is perfect example. East Chicago is surrounded by plants, BP, American maize. There's so many different plants that surround East Chicago, and guess what? East Chicago has majority of the people that I know that come from East Chicago all have health conditions. Me being one of them who has the microtumor on her pituitary gland. They just closed down a whole complex, which we call West Calumet Projects, because guess what? They were purposely in allowing these people to be poisoned with lead. So the same thing that's going on in Gary is going on in a lot of impoverished Black communities. The same thing is going on right now in Memphis. When they put that one plant there that Elon Musk put there, and those people were talking about how it was hurting them and how people were getting sick. I try not to make everything racial. I do, but it's always been racial when it comes to Gary. Because once white flight took place, and people who were predominantly white, mainly the Polish, the Jewish, people from England, people from Ireland, who first came there in 1901, they came there and they built the community up, and then Black people started migrating more up to the north. Matthew's here. Black people started migrating more up to the north because they knew that the jobs were better. So they moved to places like Gary and Hammond and East Chicago and stuff, and they were working at these steel mills. But guess what? They were still dealing with racism. They were still dealing with people who did not want to live around Black people, who literally knew if they were being told, like, by Black people living in their neighborhoods or living by Black people, that their property value would go down. So they started moving more towards Maryville and Cherville and Crown Point. That's where all the white population started going. And then they took all the stores, all the jobs. I'm about to show y'all. Watch what I tell y'all. I'm about to show y'all with this vintage tea. I think my guest is here. Can you see me? Matthew, what's going on, brother?
Yeah, I can see you. How you doing?
I'm doing well.
Come on, bro.
All right, you probably kind of messing up right now.
It was really the whole Eastern.
You going in and out right now.
Eastern time, Central time thing.
Huh?
Give me 1 second.
Yeah, go in and out. I'm going to start my theme music right now for Vince's Tea, and I'm going to let you come in after that. But yeah, I really want you all to actually kind of see what happened in Gary, and then we're going to build upon that with the first conversation regarding the blackout. And then I definitely want to introduce my guest Matthew here, who's actually a Gary resident, who was there, who saw what happened, and we'll be able to hear what he has to say, and he'll be able to kind of give you a description of what I mean. So let's go ahead and get our vintage tea popping, and we will be right back. 1 second, y'all.
Every story has a beginning.
Let's go back.
The history they forgot.
Or never told.
Vintage tea.
All right, y'all. Now, y'all know what Vintage Tea is about. It's when I bring something from the past, so that way you could see how it correlates with what's going on in the present. Before we discuss Gary's massive power outage, we must understand that Gary was being left in the dark long before this storm even arrived. And this story is very personal to me, as I'm sure it is to a lot of my listeners. I'm sure it is to Matthew. Now, I was born in Gary, born in Methodist Hospital in Gary, Indiana. My entire foundation, it began there in Gary. My grandmother's side of the family migrated from Mississippi through to Chicago to Gary, and my grandfather's side came from Pennsylvania. And Gary is a place where my family planted their roots at. And seeing where it is right now, a lot of people will just look at Gary as being a place that's scary. And they're not able to really understand that it was never always like this. I remember picking berries during the summer. I remember playing outside with my friends. I remember neighbors who knew whose child was who, and they watched out for you. I remember Miss Lucy, the candy lady. I remember going to recreation, the Boys and Girls Club. You know what I'm talking about. You know what I'm saying. Gary was the place to be. And we had recreation. We had community centers. We had neighborhood schools, Word, West Side, Horseman. Gary wasn't perfect, but it was really a community. And that is the Gary people leave out when they reduce the city to poverty, crime, and politics. Now, Gary was formed, it was founded where really was stolen in 1906 by U.S. Steel as a company town. It was mainly only supposed to be based around U.S. Steel, and it was named after the company chairman, Elbert Henry Gary. And from the beginning, Gary's economy depended heavily on one company in one industry, steel. And that steel provided stable jobs, home ownership, and a pathway into the middle class. But that dependence also made Gary dangerously vulnerable. And Gary Works once employed more than 30,000 workers. And by 1990, that number had fallen to approximately 6,000 because of automation, modernization, foreign competition, and changes throughout the steel industry. So when a city loses tens and thousands of good paying jobs, it doesn't only lose paychecks. It loses homeowners, it loses customers, businesses, and tax revenue. And eventually, it loses the resources needed to maintain roads, schools, public buildings, trees, utility corridors, and other essential infrastructures. So even though Gary's population peaked to 178,320 in 1960, by 1990, it had fallen to 116,646. And by 2020, only 69,093. And those are the residents that remain. So that means Gary lost more than 60% of its population, because when white flight played a major role in the decline, as Gary Black population and political power increased, especially after Richard Hatcher became one of America's first Black mayors, many white families moved to surrounding suburbs. So I really want to give you all a quick look at what Gary looked like and where it is right now, so that way people get an understanding, and it'll fall into the infrastructure, and you'll understand why this storm actually meant a whole lot more than just the upkeep. It was a decline that took place, a major decline. 1 second, guys, while I load this up.
City once had over 175,000 people. Now large parts of it sit abandoned. Gary, Indiana was founded in 1906 by U.S. Steel. Within decades, it became one of the fastest growing industrial cities in the country. The city thrived during the steel boom. Massive mills produced steel for bridges, skyscrapers, and railroads. But starting in the 1970s, the steel industry began to decline. Factories closed, jobs disappeared, thousands of residents moved away. Today, many buildings remain empty, including schools, theaters, and churches that once served thriving neighborhoods. Some photographers and historians visit to document the forgotten architecture and industrial history. It's a powerful reminder of how quickly cities can change. Follow Hidden America for stories hiding in plain.
Now, in 1993, Gary recorded 110 homicides, approximately 91 murders for every 100,000 residents. That gave Gary the highest per capita homicide rate in America, and it earned the title as the murder capital of the nation. But America talked about what Gary had become without discussing what had been taken away. And that's where we are right now, because my question is why did it take for this storm for people to actually really start caring? Gary been calling out for help for the longest. And I want to introduce Matthew, who actually lives in Gary. And I'm quite sure he could pretty much prove that what I'm saying is actually a lot of truth in it. But I want to hear from your story, brother. Welcome to the show.
Appreciate you for having me. Yeah, I've been out here since the early 90s. I'm 35. I was here when all the schools were still open. They used to be still the beach, like when Mayor Scott King was here, when he used to bring all the people to the beach, and they used to have the free festivals around the 4th of July. It was way more businesses open. It wasn't as many abandoned buildings or none of that type of stuff going on earlier, like when I was a child. So as you slowly get to like begin to like come of age and start getting older, you don't know that the funding is being stripped, but you start to see that the funding is being stripped. A lot of the schools start closing down, and they start combining schools, which would be shipping kids from Miller all the way to the east side, because we start going to Pulaski. They closed our middle school down in Miller and then start moving us to Pulaski. They start closing high schools down, combining them all. So you start seeing the resources get stripped for sure. Then all of a sudden, no more 4th of July festivals anymore. You just start seeing a lot of more abandoned houses just popping up, kind of sort of, or people just randomly just not living there, or they just not like taking care of the properties, I would assume.
Yeah.
So a lot of stuff started looking more abandoned as the times rolled on. And now that we're getting older now, this is the effect that it had. Like as it started earlier, when the stuff started getting stripped, now you see the effects of it now. Because now I think Gary only has one high school, which is Westside.
Wow.
We don't have no more high schools in Gary. I mean, it's charter schools that they've been opening up over the last couple of years, like Charter of Dunes and Thea Bowman and stuff like that. But some of those schools, the curriculum that they teach are not even accredited when you're going to college. But they don't even tell you that when you enroll your children in like Thea Bowman and stuff like that. So now it's like we don't have no high schools. It's barely anything going on with the community. The community doesn't get any funding. And a lot of corporations will buy up the abandoned houses and basically restore them. And then they hike the prices up as far as the rent is concerned. So over the last couple of years, a lot of Illinois residents been moving over here because, of course, the rent is cheaper.
Mm-hmm.
So you see Illinois tags all through here now, like all through the city, like no matter what side of the town you're on.
Yeah, that happened in East Chicago.
The population probably has grown, but it's because they're running away from higher taxes and higher rent costs and stuff like that. But that's the reason that the population is spiking. So before that, it was just like Gary was kind of like a forgotten city for real.
Yeah.
It wasn't being no resources poured into the city, nothing for the children. Even the Boys and Girls Club that we had on Fifth Avenue been closed down.
Man, I gotta ask you real quick, just to kind of, is the tacos on Fifth still there?
Yeah, they're still there for sure.
Okay, I just had to ask.
Yeah,
I just had to ask. Man, listen, Gary has some of the best food ever. I'm trying to tell you, like ribs on the run, Lincoln's.
Yeah, we don't even have Lincoln's anymore.
Man, Glen Park Bakery. It was unmatched, and these were all local owned businesses, and then they just all gone. Fool, I saw you was about to talk. Go ahead and say what you was about to say. I'm sorry.
Nah. When you mentioned about how now they're saying something, to be honest with you, I think if we didn't have social media, nobody would know about what's going on in Gary. And that to me is where the disconnect is, because you have so many people that are listening to everything that's on mainstream media. But the social media thing, obviously we know it's a blessing and a curse, because on one end you'll hear about what's going on, but then based on what Shannon was talking about, then you're hearing from people who don't live there talking about some shit they don't even know about, and they make it not saying they making up stuff, but they aren't local. Because like I said earlier, I always want to make sure I'm connecting with people that's local so they know exactly what's going on in the street. I don't want secondhand information. Right. I don't want people faking the funk and shit like that. And I think his name is Trey the Truth or something like that or whatever from Texas. Huge shout out to that brother, because he out there putting in work. He's putting in real work.
And he came all the way from Texas to do it.
So quick question, bro. Like, where is Gibbs at, man?
Hey,
Freddie Gibbs ain't came out there yet.
But
that is insane.
The city. I mean, when you look at it from a different perspective, if like Freddie Gibbs, the city down talks him so much.
This is
and
true.
He's one of the more successful people that came from out of here. He has shows overseas and all types of stuff, and he has a big platform. But when he was coming back and starting to shoot his videos and trying to get the city involved, it used to be a lot of backlash behind it.
Yeah.
So it didn't make sense. It don't make sense.
Yeah.
So I mean,
we're
But at the end of the day, he's still from here and he reps Gary. So I don't understand why you still didn't show your face, because this was your time to turn the narrative around.
Yeah,
like
it was.
all the people that get on from Gary and they mention Gary and they raps and all of that stuff. But then when tragedy happens like this, we don't hear your voice as far as speaking up for the city and the hometown that you're claiming.
Yeah, he should have been out there like Michael was, throwing chicken out the limo. He should have been doing that. Like, you were supposed to pull up like Michael Jackson and put your hand out the window like Michael. Michael came, pulled up. Were you there when Michael Jackson came to Gary?
Yeah, I was small.
Yeah, you was a kid. Michael Jackson came to Gary. If y'all ain't never heard, listen to Freddie Gibbs' story about when Michael Jackson came to Gary and how he said that he was buying chicken for everybody in the hood. He said, I saw gangsters crying when Michael Jackson came out there to Gary.
I want to ask both of y'all, are there any other prominent people out there who's from Gary? Because I'm talking about individuals, but for me, with everything going on right now, with this kind of getting some prominent attention, where the hell is the NFL team? Where's the back? Now, I did hear that Halliburton from Indiana is supposed to be linking up with Keith Lee, which is fine. But for me, I want to know, when you start talking about prominent figures, something like this, where the fuck are y'all at? Because the thing that hits me the most when I hear about stories like this, when you got families who have deep freezers, that means they're preparing for something like this, so they can actually have. Once something like this happens, all that shit they bought is no good. That shit is done.
Well, see, the thing is that like you could prepare for that with those deep freezers, but if you ain't got no electricity, then them deep freezers ain't gonna be worth nothing. No generator. The way that how my mom and my pop survived is they had generators. You know what I'm saying? Like that is what kept their food cool. My mom gardens, my stepdad gardens, they had water. You know what I mean? Like that's what kind of kept them in survival mode, is having the generator. So like when I made that video not too long ago, I was just saying, like, we've been paying attention for months. That just shows that it's real easy to be caught with your pants down in certain situations like this, because we've been hearing for months about blackouts that's going to get ready to occur. And I'm about to show y'all this girl, because she's the one who really was going hard and telling everybody about what's happening in Gary. And I think because of her social media reach is why it was able to reach so many people. She goes by the name of Ajalea, and I don't know if she lives in Gary, but she says she's out there, and this is her right here. And then we're going to jump into this real quick. I really want to hear from you, Matthew, about what you saw out there, and then we'll be right back.
Out one of the worst ever for Indiana, and we're going on about a motherfucking week. So come get ready with me as I go in my house, load my fucking pew because people are robbing people for generators, and put new batteries in my flashlight as we navigate the fucking apocalypse. This is my dog Carter, by the way. As you can see, little and not able to bite a fucking thing. All right, for starters, we got the Walmart special. I went and bought 3 lanterns that all take batteries, and they come with batteries. So I don't have to buy any more, but I do have extra because I don't trust myself with candles, and it is pitch black dark. How dark, one might ask? Well, let me show you. This is how dark it is. And I'm in my car. Notable haul number 2. I have a battery set that I've already opened because I'm terrified to go in my house. But unfortunately, this is what we have to do because I no longer can afford to keep staying in hotels. And I also have no signal, so that's great. Now, before I go outside of my car and make sure my fucking doors are locked, because again, people are breaking into cars, houses, and stealing whatever they can get their fucking hands on, I'm going to make sure I have batteries in my flashlight. Now, one thing that I want to make abundantly clear. Yeah, I need to hurry up. One thing I want to make abundantly clear is the longer you stay your monkey ass in the car, the more chance you have of somebody running up and pistol whipping you. So you got to hurry the fuck up. Oh my God. I didn't put the batteries in, right?
All right. So that's all I'm going to play for her. Now, quick thing. And then Matthew, I'm going to go to you. I feel bad if this is what happened to this young lady, but I'm going to tell y'all something. As somebody who be in these social media streets, she's full of shit. And I'm going to tell you why she's full of shit. Because how is it that this lady who has several pages, and I've seen her several times, I've even called her out on a lot of the BS that she says. You've been on here for years, making hella money on social media, talking about blackouts, all kinds of conspiracy theories, everything that's going on when it comes to just things that the occult and all of these things. You knew that this stuff was happening on a countrywide scale. Then you went from that to being into your I hate Donald Trump phase. So she went from being one of those content creators to being a political content creator. And you're also a nurse. So you also have 2 children. So you mean to tell me that you knew that these things was happening all across the country? And as smart as you portray yourself to be on social media, you didn't think to prepare yourself with a generator? You didn't think to prepare yourself with some way of keeping your autistic daughter safe, your son safe? So this is a clear example of why people got to be very careful about the social media people that they follow, because a lot of them are full of crap. I was more disappointed in her than anybody that I saw on here, because you get on here and you talk about these things on a regular basis. You talked about how the data centers were being built. You talk about how Peloton or whatever the name of this company is was putting up data centers or putting up these things all up in black neighborhoods. But yeah, you didn't prepare yourself enough. And you made so much clout, so much so that you even made a GoFundMe where people gave you $30,000. And there's real life people out here who are poor, who can't do this. So be very careful about who y'all be giving y'all money to. Start researching these fucking social media. Excuse my language. Stop researching these social media content creators, because a lot of them ain't walking the same way that they be talking. Go ahead, Matthew. Now we want to hear from you. What is it? Is the things that she's saying, is that accurate information?
It's 50-50. A lot of that shit said, like, she full of shit. Like, pistol whooping people and all that crazy shit. Nah. Now, don't get me wrong. There has been people stealing generators and breaking in cars and different things. That has been happening. So, because it's a blackout, a lot of people don't have a lot of stuff. Right. So, it's like on some survival of the fittest type of thing. But the way she made it seem, it wasn't that crazy now. Like, to where, like, you don't want to walk outside or you don't want to sit in your car. Like, it's not that crazy. But what I can say, it's been extremely dark and everything. That girl not even from Gary. She moved here like I think a couple years back, and she told people that she's not from Gary. She's been saying that for years. So that's why you see how like she's attacking Gary. Like she's saying what's going on a little bit, but she's overgassing it because she's not from here. So she don't got no respect for the city, because you could tell by the way she's talking about it. So like, and that's why a lot of the people on social media was mad about her raising 30,000 based on the tragedy, because they know she's not originally from Gary in the first place. So that's what the whole big issue was.
Yeah,
so
she got doxxed.
No, that's why it went the way that it went, with everybody being mad about it on Facebook, but the people on Facebook felt like she said that she was raising the money for the community. So that was the whole dispute online. Like, they felt like she raised the 30,000 for the community, but you see, even she tried to double back on that and buy supplies and stuff that she was going to be giving away and stuff like that, just to, I guess, win people over, I would assume. So that was her MO. And I seen that, I think a couple days ago. Like, so she made another one. So she's been going viral off this content for since it's been going on. She's been going day to day to day. She's been going day to day to day to day. And each video that she's been making a day, it's been hitting numbers. She was on the news, everything. But I definitely want to let my co-host possibly ask some questions. Fool, Mark, either one of y'all want to ask Matthew any questions?
Yeah. For somebody, I guess, who resonates with, the struggle, I guess, and the plight of Black folks in America, how would you describe the race relations as far as the demographics? Is it very segregated? Is it mixed? Is it diverse? I mean, I'm just trying to get an idea of the core population of Gary, because I've never been to Indiana.
The core population is Black for sure. Now, you mind you, the blackout happened. I seen some white people walking their dog. So of course, I had to ask, like, hey, you guys from around here? They moved here a month ago. Wow. So a lot of the property is cheap. So they will buy the property on tax sales and redo the property and will move. Like, cause I stay in Etna right now. I stay in the Etna neighborhood, and this is in
Okay.
Etna. So we have like a couple like white families that's moving through here because they bought houses on tax sales and they has restored their houses and they moved their family in them. So, but that's a small percentage. The majority of the city is black all throughout the city. But when you go to different areas, that's when the diversity begins to happen. Like if you're in Lake Station, you have a lot of Latinos. And then when you move towards Portage, Portage is majority white for sure.
Yeah.
And that's what, 10, 15 minutes down the road. But then when you go in the other direction, majority like Midtown Gary, west side of Gary, all of that is predominantly black in the whole city. So all of the demographic in Gary is majority black.
Yeah, and I'm just say this real quick, and then I'm gonna let Food say something. I grew up in Terrytown. We used to have an area on Terrytown called, it used to be called Black Oak. It was like where all the trailer parks and stuff was at. If you go over there I don't know if it was on the west side of town over there back Oak Knoll.
Yeah, that's like past it's like if you go down 25th and you bust a right, like if you're on Burr and you're on 25th, if you bust a right, you'll go like off into Black Oak. They got kind of like they got their own little community. But over there, it's a lot of white folks over there too, though.
Yeah. We was told when we was young not to go there. That like they were racist in that little area. Like,
they like their own little community over there. Like they're their own community.
Yeah. So we didn't mess with Black
Especially
Oak
going over there at the dark.
Oh yeah. No. So they had their own little. It's their own little. It's trailer parks basically, and they have their own little community there. And we was just told, when we used to go to This Is It, we used to just told not to go there. So I don't know if that place is still there, but I do remember that. Go ahead, Fool.
Nah, I'm sitting here listening, and for me, it's sad that it takes for social media, anybody on social media, to bring attention to things like this. Because I saw that Earthquake, the comedian, he was talking about like how he just found out about it. And, I know he's not from Gary, but I would love to hear from Mike Epps right now. Mike Epps is prominent from Indy.
He's not from Gary though.
No, I get it, but my whole thing is, and I guess with y'all being from there, I don't know if y'all can, I hear static in the background. I hear like a sound in the background. I don't know if y'all can hear that. It's crazy. They must really be messing with this live. But probably. My biggest thing is when I hear something like a catastrophe like this, it turns into, where are the people that's from there to actually do something? And it bothers me that homeboy had to come all the way from Texas to really put in some work, because it turns into, how is this brother willing to, and I saw him cutting down some damn trees. So if he's coming there cutting down trees and actually helping out people, where are I'm talking about anybody. It ain't just got to be athletes and stuff like that. It's not like, it's not people who aren't successful that's from Gary that we don't know who the hell they are. Where are y'all at showing that y'all actually care about the community?
Hey,
I just hold on real quick, Mark. I do want to say this. I have seen videos where there are people like activists. There's churches that's putting things together. There's people who are literally like driving to Gary to give out food, to give out toiletries. I'm not sure if that's happening. But that's what I saw on, social media is different. I haven't been up there because my family said that they were fine. I was like, yo, do y'all need anything? Can I send y'all some food? Come down here. I would tell them to come to Indianapolis, and they could have just stayed in my place, but they were fine. And I haven't been up there, but I heard that a lot of people are going there and they're helping out. And I mean, I think that the community is just a little bit shooken up, but a lot of people are aware that really a lot of it is at fault is NIPSCO. NIPSCO has been a big problem when it comes to Gary for a long time. One of the blessings in my life is that I became an adult and did not have to pay NIPSCO bills. And I know Matthew can attest to that. NIPSCO is something else. Go ahead, Mark. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So what I was going to allude to is what you had just mentioned. This is 100% on the power company. And so I have to push back a little bit on food when he's talking about where the celebrities at. This is not their responsibility.
Yeah.
This is clear who this is on. This is on the power company who is responsible for maintaining those lines, for maintaining the vegetation around those lines. Like, as someone who worked for the power company here in Texas, I can personally guarantee you, if that would have been Encore or a power company in Texas, they would be getting sued right now. Their asses would be getting lit up because this is 100% on them. Now, as far as the celebrities coming back, should they? Maybe. That depends on how they feel about the city and how they've been treated since they become famous. Some places, when you go back like that, y'all were talking about how Freddie Gibbs' name is no good in the city. So I wouldn't expect him to come back and lift a finger to do anything. You've trashed me for years. Why would you be looking to help now? Like, to me, that to me is the elephant in the room about why you don't burn bridges that you never want to, unless you never want to cross it. You have to be careful about the things that you say and how you treat people, because you never know when you're going to need people. And when you're shitting on your own and people that come from your own city, like in Baltimore, right? The reason why we don't have any rappers who make it mainstream, despite our image for being gangsters and tough and gritty and all of that, which aligns perfectly with the culture of hip hop. The reason why we don't have any is because people from the city kill them every time they get an opportunity to shine. I'll give you an example. This guy named Lord Scooter. Y'all probably never heard of him, and you would have had he been allowed to progress in his career. But you weren't able to hear from him because he got caught up in some petty beef and they killed him while his song was climbing up the charts. And I'm just thinking to myself, I'm like, this crabs in the barrel mentality, this crabs in the bucket, ideology is the reason why we won't be able to shine. It's the reason why we continue as a community to be left behind. It should be second nature for somebody like Freddie Gibbs to go back and want to help out Gary, Indiana. But then you bring in the other piece where we have that crabs in the barrel thing where people are hating and talking trash because someone else made it from the exact same city and you didn't. And that's the wrong attitude, and that's what permeates and holds back the Black community. Now, this is also NIPSCO's fault. So I don't want to let this go out of the wind at all. This is definitely on the power company who need to make this right. But as far as the celebrities, I think that they should help. However, I don't think it's I don't think they should be forced to do so or looked at poorly if they don't.
And just so everybody's aware, NIPSCO roots in Northwest Indiana dates back to 1912. The company has been part of that region just as long as Gary has been there. It's and on August 11th, which was when this storm took place, Gary in Northwest Indiana was struck by a historic storm called a derecho storm. Now, I never heard of this, but one thing that was odd to me when I saw the pictures was that there was no water. It just looked like the trees had been lifted up, and we got all the water in Indianapolis. Like, it was crazy. It was storming so bad. We thought that like the trees around us were going to be blown away, but all we got is water, which I knew anytime we get a big storm here in Indianapolis, in my mind, I'm like, okay, somewhere somebody else is probably like either getting hurt really bad. Like, I know that it's probably going worse somewhere else. And now this storm, y'all, this historic storm with the winds that reached approximately 99 miles per hour. Trees, power lines, and utility poles came down throughout the region, and it became the largest outage event in NIPSCO's history. And residents and Gary officials have accused NIPSCO of failing to adequately trim trees and maintain vegetation around power lines. And a proposed class action lawsuit makes similar allegations, although those claims have not yet been proven in court. Now, Matthew, what stood out to me within your video is that you spoke about the power lines and that they have poles that have been there since the 50s. Is that still true?
Yeah, that was true for sure. And that was only exposed due to the out-of-state contractors. So the out-of-state contractors are the one that's kind of exposing what's going on to the community because they're brought in to help. So when they're looking at the condition of the poles and the power lines and the vegetation, they're looking at it like who's dropping the ball here, because a lot of this stuff just hasn't been taken care of. Now, but when you go what east of Gary, when you're in Portage, yeah, some of the rural areas was hit bad because they got a lot of trees, but it's not a lot of people that live over there in them areas either, though. So of course they wasn't trimming the vegetation. But as far as the city is concerned, all of that stuff is well taken care of. On the news, they said St. John was hit the hardest, and I think it was like at 120 something miles when it hit them. But they had power restored the same day at 7 p.m.
I
The
bet
same
they
day of the
did.
storm, they had power restored by 7 p.m.
I bet they
And here
did.
it is, like it didn't take what it took celebrities and stuff to say something about this for us to
Yeah.
even get the people from out of town and all of that stuff to even come start helping, so we can even know that we got these old rotted kind of power lines, and eventually these were things that was going to fall down and dismay anyways. So
He ain't
now that you
lying.
got the added people telling us, and then and NIPSCO's not allowing them to do a lot of stuff. So they've been trying to come do some of the tree cleanup and the tree trims, but NIPSCO isn't authorizing them to do it.
Yeah.
So it's like they waiting on NIPSCO. The neighborhood that I live in, we just started seeing tree companies and stuff. Yesterday?
Yeah.
Just started seeing them yesterday. So the whole neighborhood looks like it did last Tuesday. Well, it's 2 weeks. So the Tuesday that the storm happened, we still got uprooted trees and everything else all throughout the neighborhood. Still have trees on power lines behind my mom's house that occurred during the storm. No cleanup has came through. It's still live wires probably under them because they haven't cut the electricity. So the insurance telling us that we can't touch none of this stuff. So this is how the city looks like that a lot throughout Gary, especially like in the Glen Ryan neighborhood. It's really terrible. Trees uprooted still throughout the whole neighborhood. So when they're giving us restoration times and we looking at the condition of the neighborhood, it can't be logically accurate because we don't see nobody cleaning up stuff, getting the power lines off the ground, actually replacing the power poles or any of that. So when they tell us Tuesday at 11:59, and we know that nobody has came to assess damage like they claim they were, or to even start tree removal so you can actually start to address whatever the problems is so you can get power restored, we just don't believe it. And then to think like nobody really started doing giveaways or stuff for the community until donations started coming in. Once the celebrities and famous people started throwing out money and donations, now all of a sudden we got all of these giveaways and different things like that. But for a whole 7 days, nothing. Every other county around here was getting people donating 1,000 meals and having resources for everybody. In Portage, they was getting ice and food and water and everything since day one.
Yeah. Let's go to the comments real fast. Go ahead, Fool.
My question is, I've been seeing a few videos, a little recent, maybe like the past 2 days, where they're showing people who now their power is coming back on. So my only question is that actually in the places that was hit the hardest, if you get what I'm saying? Because it was I saw one brother, you probably seen the video, one brother, he was screaming and he was like this and he walked outside. And I'm like, okay, how many people have that happened to, and are they only doing that shit in specific areas?
I think it's specific areas are being prioritized over others for sure.
Okay.
So it's not like every area is getting that same priority. So some areas are getting more priority, and I don't know if that's what they're what the neighborhoods they grew up in or whatever the case may be. But they redid Miller Beach and everything. So I don't understand why Miller Beach, the whole Miller area wasn't a priority either, when it's a lot of trees and stuff throughout there. And superintendents and stuff stay out for there in Miller, like off the beach, like their backyard is the beach and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of those big wigs that works for the state of Indiana that actually lives deep off over there in Miller. And it took them a long time to get power as well. So it's really kind of like some of the outer places, like Glen Park and the West Side. Of course, I don't think they had as many trees on power lines as these neighborhoods that we got, because Edna, I guarantee you this, they couldn't have did no trimming or vegetation since COVID. That's how bad the overgrow is. So this was destined to happen at some point anyways. Like even if I wish I could have just took a video of how like the different streets look. Because if you see all of the trees that's still on power lines today, and this stuff happened all of those days ago, it's no way y'all could have came and assessed any damage and gave an accurate timeline on anything. I think that was just to keep the donations coming in, to throw a timeline, so at least it looked like y'all trying to make some type of effort. But why didn't Gary get any restoration timelines during the whole first week? We never made the news. They kind of skipped over this city. They mentioned Maryville, Portage, and all the different areas on the news first day out. Gary didn't get no coverage, no resources, no anything. So Gary just has the priority. Like it's no priority to kind of get the Gary residents together. And a lot of the people feel like, well, maybe we should just move. And I honestly think that's what they want them to do. They
That
want to
it
stall them out.
is.
They want to stall them out.
They
So at
want to
least
push
they
y'all
probably
out
would
of
get away
there.
from here.
They
So
want to
then they
push
could
y'all
just
up out
come
of there.
in, buy the property, and revamp it. Y'all just final, and I think they finalized the Chicago Bears deal. What, I think a day after the storm, or 2 days after the storm.
Ooh, really?
So it makes
Wow.
it sounds like a coincidence, but then when you put your thinking cap on, you like, it's starting to make sense. You would want everybody to flee the area, so y'all could just come in. It's damaged, so of course it's going to be cheap. And then it's not we're 20 minutes from Hammond.
Yeah.
So this is an ideal location, and we're right down the street from the beach.
Yep.
So
Yep.
it was white flight, but the whites trying to come back though.
Yeah. Oh yeah, they come. Yeah, they like somebody
They
said.
don't want the black folks to have a beach.
It's the old school.
This sounds like gentrification to me.
It's the old school saying that white man coming back to get that beach. That's the part. That's the part that people don't talk about in Gary. They got beachfront property out there. Yeah, they got beachfront property out there, man. Like the beach is beautiful. It's right by Lake Michigan. Let's go to the comments and then we're gonna close this out because we only got a couple of more minutes left. Denise Williams and Glenn Robinson have donated funds. This is my hometown. I've been making plans to move back to make a difference. Signed, Candace Trice Crute, retired Chief Master Sergeant, USAF, Roosevelt High School, class of 1980. We appreciate you. Thank you, Candace. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I heard Indiana is extremely racist. Indiana is professionally covert racist. That's what they are. Like in certain parts of Indiana, you're gonna deal with some racism. There are sundown towns in Indiana. Now, in a few parts where you may think racism does not exist, there's covert racism, meaning that they hide it very well. So I live in Indianapolis. Indianapolis is very liberal, of course, but it's still racist things that happen here when it comes to police brutality, when it comes to the way that they have pushed so many black people to the east side of town, how they've allowed immigrants to take over the west side of town, and how they've pushed majority of wealthier people to the outskirts, the north side and the further south. The south side is a bit of a mixed bag, but it's a melting pot, and you kind of know where to go and where not to go. And it really also depends on your personality and how you present yourself. That's just kind of how, in my opinion, Indianapolis is. Let's see what we got here. And shout out to you, Candace, because you've been with us the whole way through. BKC 85er. Normally, power and light companies from other cities will come help. That's odd or intentional. Well, I know for sure that AES ain't coming to help no damn body. That's AES that's up here in Indianapolis. They not coming to help no damn body. Okay, they got data centers that they are working with right now. And yeah, they're not. By the way, I have heard that a lot of people have been talking about data centers possibly being. That data center that they're planning on building out there in Maryville, it's not up yet. So the data center didn't have anything to do with this particular storm. Now in Memphis, not quite sure. But yeah, that kind of is a bit of a pickle when it comes to that situation. I really think that it has a lot to do with poor infrastructure all the way around. And I remember driving through Gary, Indiana, they still had light poles that was there since my granddad was a kid. He stays right now, he stays off Fillmore. But you know what I'm saying? Like the deeper you go into the east side Glen Park area in certain parts, if you ever drive through Gary, you will see it's a lot of outdated things going on in Gary. And I think that this, aside from every other issue that we're having with weather, that Gary, they had their time. And unfortunately, it's going to be a lot of older cities around here that might end up having a time like this because of bad weather, because of forced infrastructure on top of old infrastructure that hasn't been updated. And I'm sending my prayers and my love to everybody that's being impacted by this storm in Gary, as well as all of the surrounding areas. It's not a black and white thing for me. I just really want Americans to get their assistance because they pay taxes and they deserve to. And I think that it's sad that we're in a time right now where it takes for something like this for people to actually see that this city was forgotten about by not only the politicians that's in the government, as far as locally, but also the politicians that are in the government as far as state. So yeah, let's go ahead and move. Anybody got anything else to say before we try to close this up? We're gonna move to the next one. Anybody?
Nah.
All right. Well, Matthew, we're going to go ahead and close this out. We appreciate you for stopping in and giving us your thoughts and letting us know what's really happening. We wanted to talk to people who had their boots on the ground out there. Did you want to drop some social media drops so people will follow you anywhere that people could donate and help out? And yeah, we appreciate you again for stopping through.
I mean, I did make a GoFundMe for my mom because, I mean, the weatherhead got ripped off her house and stuff. And of course, insurance not coming out till this Friday, I believe. So she had to get her weatherhead repaired before she even, be able to get power restored. So even though like they still haven't cleaned up none of the stuff that's out there, she still will have to get the weatherhead repaired before she even gets her power restored anyways. So I think I'm Wyatt Carmen Sr. on TikTok, Wyatt Carmen Sr. on Facebook, things like that. So if they did want to come follow, they could. I got the link on TikTok, I believe, for our GoFundMe. So just so she could try to recover for real.
Okay. Okay. I definitely make sure I donate something today.
I was gonna say, and if you can, add me on Facebook more. So that's where the numbers are really for me right now. And make sure anything you post, like tag me on all your stuff so that people can see it, because that post I made about Gary has been getting some love on. A lot of love.
Yeah. All right, man. Well, you be safe out there. Wishing you the best, and prayers to you and your family, and prayers to everybody in your community. All right. And God bless.
And I appreciate you. I appreciate you guys again.
Absolutely. Make sure you subscribe to the channel now.
Oh, definitely, for sure.
All right. Have a good day. All right, y'all. That was that. I wasn't expecting for that to be a long one, but that's my hometown, man, and just kind of seeing. I'm proud that it is getting the recognition that it's getting. I just hate that like people are not coming from. They're not doing it because they actually care.
Yeah.
That's where I'm coming from. Like if you like Gary been having problems for a long time. You know what I mean? And I'm not gonna hold you. Our government did drop the ball. Not Trump, not the federal. Our government here in Indiana definitely dropped the ball on this one, because had this been Indianapolis, I guarantee you them lights would have been on within probably a couple of days, maybe even a couple of hours. But because of where it's at, it's definitely a problem. You putting a spotlight on that power company, and I think that's where the vitriol and everything needs to be, showing that they really dropped the motherfucking ball. Like that, saying that and putting it out there is major, because I think I saw a video about that where they was saying like a representative of that company was saying something, and I was like, man, she full of shit. And guess what? It's a black man that's over NIPSCO now. I thought and Biden. No, I don't know if they switched it up, but it was a black man last I checked. And then on top of that, Biden they allowed the selling of U.S. steel to a Japanese company.
I remember that story.
So it ain't really a lot of people, and they have outdated materials going on up in there. Like it's a lot of stuff going on, man. America is just real good when it comes to businesses. They're just really good at putting they're good at putting band-aids on bullet holes. Like they don't really like be fixing things the way that they should be fixed until it's time to fix them. And the thing that's going on in Gary, man, they probably not gonna do nothing to help out the infrastructure there, no more than what it already is. They're probably gonna definitely gentrify Gary, and I guarantee you within the next 5 to 10 years, it's gonna be right back to where it originally was, which is a bunch of white people there. And that's what's gonna happen. They probably gonna push everybody else out, and they're gonna bring in more people, more white people, more immigrants, and black people that are there are gonna be the ones that really got that money, that bread. But if you ain't gonna be if you ain't gonna be able to keep up with the cost of rent increasing, the cost of living increasing, you're not gonna be able to stay in Gary no more. They're gonna push you off into the hood and to the backwoods. But they're definitely about to gentrify Gary.
How far is Gary from Hammond?
Like 10 minutes, 10, 15 minutes.
Oh yeah, all this makes sense then.
It's not that far away.
If you just said that they solidified that the Bears are definitely going to Hammond,
All of this, it adds up, and that's sad.
Which makes absolutely no sense. It makes absolutely no sense for the Bears to go to Gary. I mean, to him. And I don't know what that. It's been the Chicago Bears. Look, people in Northwest Indiana, we don't follow the Colts, okay? We don't follow the Pacers, all right? We follow the Bears and the Bulls. That's really what it's always been. It's been like that since I was a kid. So seeing that it's no longer going to be the Chicago Bears is weird as hell to me.
What I'm saying is this particular incident happening, if you're saying that they solidified that they're definitely going to Hammond, you saying it's only 10 minutes away, that's a very, very strange coincidence. Something is in play. Something is in play.
Y'all keep talking about beach. Y'all keep saying beach this, beach that. That let me know for sure that this is a play. Like when the Bears being involved in all of this, and the growth, Hammond itself is not going to be able to withstand. So they're gonna have to combine cities. That makes perfect sense. And I was just watching a video right before the show even started about Gary, Indiana, and he was listing off all of this terrible stats about Gary, Indiana. And then right after that, he started talking about why he's about to invest in Gary, Indiana. And I'm like, oh, I get the play. Same thing happened in New Orleans. Same thing happened in certain towns where they want to clean up the population that's there. So certain events happen that seem like astronomical, like there's no way that this could have happened in the U.S. city, but it actually did happen, and it actually is happening. The same thing just happened in Maui with the fire that tore up the whole entire island except for Oprah and The Rock's house.
Yeah.
It's almost like it knew exactly where to go and to where to stop. So, like I said, this is, to me, respect to everybody that's going through what they're going through in Gary, but this is a play.
It definitely is. And we're probably not going to get to the other ones because it's all good. 2 hours and we ain't staying over tonight. But, you know, the Gary I remember, it was not simply a crime statistic, okay? It was picking berries, playing outside with my grandma, neighborhood schools and recreation centers, and adults watching over us. That's what Gary was to me. So tonight, you know, it wasn't just only about this blackout. I was asking why America allowed an entire city's foundation to be stripped away and only started paying attention after it went dark. That's where I was coming from. And I really hope that one day we'll get to a point in America to where we stop helping people based on their demographics, where we stop helping people based on their race, and where people will stop using race as a marketing tool, because that's exactly what's happening right now. It's starting to be just a look for these Democrats to be like, oh, well, you know, we're going to point the finger at Braun because Braun signed a deal with Israel and he had all of this money. Do you know almost every state in this country has a deal with these people? He's just the one who's public about it. Right. And I don't think people really understand that. Like right now, it needs to stop being about this red and blue stuff, because right now we are all watching our country be taken from us. And until we get to that point to where we stop looking at everything from black and white to red and blue, we'll continue to have situations happen like this. And you never know when this may come knocking on your door. So I suggest you get prepared, get you a generator, get you some batteries, learn how to grow, and keep your blicky and your Bible tight, because this ain't the first blackout that's gonna happen. This ain't the second, and the damn show ain't the last. And I land my plane. Y'all got anything else y'all want to say?
Y'all do me a favor. Make sure you follow me on the Model Citizen Show on YouTube. We dropping content, y'all. We trying to grow the channel. Come follow your boy over there. It's all under the Realist Lounge network. We still keeping it the same way. We still keeping it gangster. We still keeping it true. We hitting you with hard-hitting sports and political takes. So y'all make sure y'all go follow me on @Model Citizen Show. That's all one word, @Model Citizen Show. Yeah.
Fool, you got anything?
I would just say for everybody, if you watch tonight, make sure that you subscribe, especially if you're on Facebook. If you're on Facebook, make sure you subscribe. Go check out the channel and just tell other people, because
it's the reason why we shadow ban.
Yes,
it's the reason why we can't
it
post.
is.
It's the reason why right now I don't even post on TikTok because everything I post, I'm getting flagged. I'm getting
Man, what?
It's not even worth it anymore. So I literally just make my videos over there so I can post them in other places, and I delete them as soon as I make them so I don't get a fucking flag. But our objective right now is to grow this channel. So just subscribe and tell at least 10 people. If you tell at least 10 people, we probably can get at least 2 more subscribers. That's the plan.
Absolutely. And we appreciate everybody for stopping through. Thank you so much to everybody in the comments. Shout out to DJ Knock, Ronald Rex. If I did not get to your comments this evening, I apologize. We just was really trying to let that brother speak because we get so many people who talk so much about things that they don't know nothing about. And he deserves to have his voice heard because he's actually out there. Shout out to BKC 85er, Candace, Sister Soldier. We appreciate you all. And thank you for everybody who's watching on Facebook, on YouTube, on IG, on X. Make sure you all follow, like, share, subscribe. Keep it cute. Don't keep it on mute. Let's hear you in the comments. And we'll see you all next Monday at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on the Realist Lounge. And we out. Bye, y'all.
The Realist Lounge.
Hosted by Shannon Nicole with Unplugged, Mark the Model. Yeah, we ready, let's go.
Pull up a chair, it's time to make the people aware.
Bringing culture into context. Truth, no nonsense.
The Realist Lounge.